Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Behind the DM Screen for the Party Advantage show here. This is the Q&A episode for 2018 that we've been pumping out to you guys, and we've been gathering all of your questions and comments and queries, and this is where we sit down and we answer them all over the course of the first 20 episodes. So that's the first 10 episodes of each campaign. Why don't we start out tonight by going around and reintroducing everybody who's here with us this evening. As you guys have probably guessed, I'm Rob Kerr. I'm the DM of the Farwind campaign, and I play the incorrigible road that winds in Arius.
And I am Cassie Derby. I am DM for the Arius campaign, and I play the tiefling Seraphina in the Farwind campaign.
Hey, I'm Kyle, the one and only Manny, and the Tabaxi Shadow.
Hello, my name is Ryan. I play Dark. He is a Tabaxi Ranger who only whines in Farwind.
All right, and bring us home, Adam.
Hi, I'm Adam Derby. I'm the fabulous Xavier and the irreplaceable Tagoro.
God damn it.
I love you, Adam. All right, guys. So we are 10 episodes into each of the campaigns. And what are your thoughts? I mean, we've been playing Arius for a little while now, and Farwind, as Dismal Ninja points out later in one of the questions that we'll get to, you guys really sort of gave birth to your characters on the air. So how are the campaigns going? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
Got it. Awesome. I think the show and the game's going really great. Really good. I love being here. I love playing. I love how my characters are turning out. Xavier's a sassy little bitch, and Tagoro's just lovable and kind, and everyone loves them.
It has been a lot of fun playing both campaigns. DMing for mine, I absolutely love DMing. It's been like a hot while, so getting to DM is a lot of fun, and then getting to play is also a really good change up too. So I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, that really is nice. As I've mentioned previously, I very rarely get to actually play a character. I DM most of the time, and so it's been really fun actually getting to dig in and be part of the party again. I really, really love the party for the Arius campaign. They're a lot of fun to play with. And I have to say,
they are pretty lovable.
So, I've DM'd for a number of you guys before, but this is Farwind's the first time I've DM'd for Adam, and he is such a dynamic player. It's been keeping me on my toes as a DM to keep up with his characters. It's been a lot of fun.
Welcome to my hell.
I like playing with Rob and Adam as players because I had never played as players with you two. Rob had always been my DM, and then me and Adam had never played until Arius. So playing with you two really brought new dynamic for me as a player. I was like, okay, this is cool. It's interesting.
Me personally, it's just exciting to play at all. The only other person that I ever got to play with was my brother and his girlfriend, and I thought that was really fun, but I find this a little bit more enjoyable just because I'm meeting new people, and it's just a good story in Farwind.
It really is. And you play such an adorable character.
It's been really cool having you part of the team here, and it's been really fun to watch somebody else play Tabaxi Ranger too.
Yeah.
So just the different choices that can be made there, and the different paths that two characters can take, even with that same basic core
class
structure
and race. Yeah,
that's been really cool. That's been personally a lot of fun for me to watch.
Yeah, and actually on a comment to that, me and Ryan spent time looking at your character sheet because of D&D Beyond. We can look at that kind of stuff and be like, well, are you interested in this kind of build, or do you want to build something different? And that's when we talked about it, and he chose what he chose.
What about, just because I'm curious, Kyle, what about since we have 2 bards in both of our campaigns? How's that from your perspective, playing one of the bards?
Well, I noticed there's a question later on that, like, who's the better bard and stuff like that. But, you know, it's where I feel like we're so different as characters. Like, it's hard to choose because I like both, you know, it's hard to choose. Like, but seeing Adam play that sassy role is really fun and creative, and just, it's wild, and it's a wild card. You never know what's going to happen.
That's for damn sure.
Adam certainly keeps us all on our toes. That's
yeah. Yes, he does.
That's my gift.
Is it though?
It is.
So what about you, Adam? How has this been going for you in terms of, you know, how, I know you said you've enjoyed being here and that you liked the way your characters are developing here, but talk to us about playing with this group, because this is the first time, you know, these 2 campaigns are the first time you've played with most of us.
I mean, it's going good. Like, I love playing with everyone. I really like getting to know the Knight brothers as Xavier, and, you know, Tagoro, just, you know, he's that lovable guy, so he just kind of gets along with everyone. So it's been fun to kind of like have moments with everyone. Like, he's really close with, you know, of course, with Rich's character. So, you know, me and Rich are pretty good.
Yeah, terrific. Which, by the way, Rich couldn't make it here tonight, and so we love you, Rich. We miss you, but we love Lucaros and Roche and playing with you, and hopefully we'll get you in for another Q&A session sometime in the future here.
Definitely. I will say for Rich, having him play Lucaros, just his dynamic within the group. I love how he's like taken on this big brother type mentality with Tagoro and whatnot, and how he's like really caring about the other characters, Rhodes and Manny and whatnot. I absolutely love how he handles himself as a character and a player.
Yeah, and just how giving he is. Oh, he's just such a nice guy.
He is just genuinely a nice guy. But I also really like how different Roche is from Lucaros, and that he's got a very altruistic sort of character in Lucaros. And then Roche is, you know, not necessarily, you know, well, you know, not necessarily negative, but he's a little more self-focused. He's a little more of the absent-minded professor.
He's naked Lucaros.
That's fair.
There is your player fight.
One player, 2 characters who walks out.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, do you guys want to hop into start talking about at least start answering some of the questions here as we go through, and we can kind of branch off and discuss things as they crop up?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Cool. All right, then. So let's start with one from Dismal Ninja here on Discord. For players with more than one character in the show, what do you do to maintain character separation between games? How do you get into a character's headspace so that they are distinct even when sharing a voice? Good question. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's kind of funny. Like, I just act like them throughout the day. Like, when it's the day before recording or the day of recording, whoever I'm playing that day, that's who I am. Like,
that's clever.
Yeah, throughout the day. So, like, I'll talk to my daughter as the character or whatnot, and like try to like get in their head as the mentality throughout the day.
So she doesn't think you're a crazy person when you do that?
No, I don't think so.
That's just such a great mental image. If you like try to cast sleep on your daughter to get her to take a nap, and you're doing parkour in the mornings when you're about to play Shadow, that's sweet, man.
Okay, wow. When you put it like that, I was trying to be really incisive and like.
No, seriously.
Thanks for throwing that away.
That's awesome. That's wonderful.
That's great.
Oh yeah, but that's what I do.
That's cool. That's cool. What about you, Adam?
I mean, basically, they're kind of like just like a part of, you kind of eventually, like, your D&D characters kind of become like a part of you. So, Xavier's that, persona, that my shade persona, basically. And Tagoro is the nice person I wish I was some days. So, plus that also helps playing the exact opposite, basically, of the spectrum. A really bitchy, shady guy compared to a really nice, helpful guy.
Right.
So Xavier is the persona we all see on the Discord channel. Basically.
That's accurate.
Yep, there it is. We're not gaming tonight.
Well, it's Tagoro on the community chat, and on the private chat, we get Xavier.
That's fair.
Maybe, as Xavier would say, you should not look at Xavier to change and why he's this way. Maybe you should evaluate what's wrong with you.
Oh my God.
We don't have time to talk about all the things that are wrong with me, Adam. Okay?
What Xavier would say.
Or me.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, how about you, Kyle? Or Ryan?
Well, what I normally do is just, I kind of see some personality traits within like some of my characters, like Dark, for instance. I'm very, very socially awkward and shy. So what I do is just raise that up to 11 and just try to bring it to recording.
Nice.
It's a great approach. Yeah, you do a really good job of playing the younger brother coming into his own.
Just the baby brother of the group in general. Just like his dynamic within the party itself is just, love it.
All right. Cassie, do you want to take our next question here?
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, this is one also from Dismal Ninja, and this is for both of us, Rob.
Okay.
For the DMs when dealing with scenes involving multiple NPCs at once. What are your strategies for making sure all of the NPCs are represented as different people when having to switch back and forth between them rapidly? I'll let you start that one off.
Well, for as much as I, joked with Kyle here about being your characters throughout the day, I definitely do the same thing. I talk to myself like a crazy person in the car between, going back and forth between characters and just sort of imagining how they would respond in a variety of situations. I try to keep a lot of notes. I have just bullet point breakdowns of simple sort of personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, the typical sort of 5e construction there for those folks, and try to boil them down into those key elements that they can focus in on and hone in on, and then come back to that when I have a scene with a couple of them and play there. The most difficult ones for me, I have to admit, are the scenes where that we have played, and maybe this is a little into the future here, but doesn't really give much of a spoiler. Where Torga and Barvek are in the same scene together, and
oh yeah, just because of the
the
accent with Torga, and then the little bit of the drunken drawl that Barvik has.
Oh yeah, and I'm horrible with accents just anyway, so that's always a little bit of a challenge for me. But notes, and then just chatting to myself when I'm going throughout my day.
Nice.
So what about you?
I think for me, when it comes to my NPCs, I kind of fall back to some of my theater training and whatnot. Also for me, for so many years, as a DM, my NPCs were my characters that I played. So I think similar to you with bullet points, I actually end up writing like each character, actually each of a lot of the main NPCs we've met so far have their own page on my Google Drive folder of their backgrounds that I've written out, like their backstories and whatnot. I just kind of have an idea in my head how they would sound. With Blitz, I always want her to sound very welcoming and ready to help. I think just my two favorite NPCs to voice, just because of their very different personalities, were the Ollie Block brothers.
They were great. I love those too.
I wanted Git to be the more I wanted Len to be the very more like, kind of like sarcastic, like self-deprecating, self-loathing character, and then I wanted Git to be this really like super hyper-focused, hyper-sounding guy. Well, I mean, like he likes mine dust, so I think those scenes were a lot of fun just because of playing off of the interaction with you, and then when the party meets up with them as well. So I don't know. It's kind of like just playing characters for me back like it was back in my theater days. So it's one of those like I kind of have a personality in mind, and then I just jump between those personalities.
Nice. Well, that definitely takes some talent to be able to do that. Yeah, terrific. So what do you say we move on to a question from Not That Chris Brown on Discord again here. We'll come back to some more Dismal Ninja question. He's got some great ones throughout here. Mm-hmm. So Not That Chris Brown asks, do you as players research optimized builds for your characters?
Oh, that's a good one.
So do you research it, or do you go with more of a story-driven character development?
Yeah, I kind of do both almost, I want to say. For me, I definitely, when I want to choose a character and their race and class and everything like that, I kind of like want to do a little bit of foresight on it and see what kind of spells they have. Am I interested in those type of spells, or am I just wanting to be an attacker? So I kind of just think of both, and then when I choose all that, then the story I can kind of follow along with that. So kind of my idea on it.
Okay, balanced approach. What about you, Ryan?
I don't really research too much. Like I'll look at like some of the important things, like what spells I learned certain levels and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But or like different branches that I can bring my character. But for the most part, I just kind of go with the flow and see if it works, because I just when I looked up my character traits for Dark, mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, this one sounds cool. I'm gonna stick with this.
Oh, terrific. Okay.
And I kind of looked at well, my brother showed me your character sheet, mm-hmm. of course, mm-hmm. and I'm like, oh, I like that idea, but I don't want to copy him exactly. So I kind of went in a kind of different direction.
Yeah.
I kind of hope. So.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. You definitely went in a very different direction, and I really like how you took a lot of similar elements and built them into your own thing there. That was.
I bet Dark could have gotten through that door.
Hey!
Oh jeez,
that hurts. That hurts, but as much as you smack his toe with that damn hammer. Cool. All right, so you take a more organic approach then.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. What about you, Adam? How's your character building process go?
I just make them.
Just make them,
Like I mean, I don't look up any character builds or anything, because I know that like D&D Beyond has like a lot of people like sharing like, oh, this is how you make, like, I think one of the ones I have heard of is like multi-classing wizards and warlocks. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I don't do none of that. I pick a race and a class and I go with it.
Yeah.
I will say, I do like one term when Adam creates, or when he's working on his characters, is he doesn't build them, he births them. They like come into being, so to speak.
They're my children.
Yes.
They do always seem to start with a personality, and then they spring from there. Just, at least that's the sense that I've gotten from your character builds, which is a really cool way to make them, I think.
It's cool seeing him, gaming with him from all these years, how he builds his. Just he does take an unorthodox approach, I feel. And they always end up breaking the game in some way, shape, or form. So that's always fun. I think I've told you this before, Rob. If you see him start building a rogue or a sorcerer, watch out. We're all in trouble.
Yeah, rogues or sorcerers. Watch out.
I will keep my eye out for that and and rue the day.
Oh yes, Rob. Oh yes.
I have to say that from my perspective, in terms of character building, I tend to start with the personality as well. I don't think I get as deep into their day-to-day personality as Adam does to start. I'd start with sort of a background.
Oh, I go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, that's for real.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But it seems to compare and contrast a little bit, it always seems to me like you have a really strong idea of who they are right now when you make them, and then you build off to, how do they get to be this person with their background. Whereas I sort of take the inverse approach where I start off with a background and go, okay, if they grew up like this, what sort of person would they be today? And that's sort of where Rhodes came from. I do have to say that now, having seen Kyle play 3 different characters, it is really cool to me to see some of the similarities between them, and then where he's really branched off. So between Thorin, who was the rogue he played in our Tomb of Annihilation campaign, to Manny was built after Thorin, and then Shadow came most recently. And Thorin being the Dragonborn rogue. So I've noticed a consistent theme of wanting to be the stealthy one, which is always really cool. But sort of the different dynamics in there. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I think that Manny is the only multi-class one that you've done.
Oh yeah.
Before. Yeah, and it's funny because I remember talking to you about multi-classing in Thorin, but then I changed my mind because Rogue is just way too good to stop. So, yeah, I like Manny's build right now. It's a slow start.
Yeah,
but when he wants to, he can lay out some pretty good damage.
Yeah.
And
right?
I think some foresight, you guys are going to see some cool tricks.
Yeah, he's shaping up to be a little stealthy DPS machine here. So
yeah,
He
I don't know.
definitely is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, multi-classing is interesting. So it's a lot of fun though.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And I'll round out the answering of this question. For me, I think I kind of follow a similar approach to you, Rob. When I created my first character in Tomb of Annihilation, Ariadne, my boss ass bitch of a fighter, I think I wanted to play my approach. I wanted to play something that I normally haven't played in the past. So I think I started on her background first, like her backstory, where she came from and what led her to where she was in the campaign. And then I don't know, then I chose the fighter class because I thought that would really fit her personality and her backstory. And yeah, I kind of, as we were playing Tomb of Annihilation, I think that's when I kind of like worked on optimizing her in between games. Like I would look ahead to see, okay, if I take this level, what can I do with her later? So I kind of like worked on her as we played. And then with Seraphina, when we started Farwind, I kind of used some of those tricks that I did with Ariadne with her.
Okay. Yeah, I from watching you create characters in both aspects there, you did always seem to have a very strong sense of their background and their story, which is great for me as a DM being able to pull that in. But yeah, Ariadne was definitely a boss. She was headhunting left and right.
Goal.
And also, I noticed very big personalities in both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure they were big personalities in two completely different ways.
Well, I would imagine you'd have to create characters with big personalities to play with Adam for so many years. So.
Yeah, here's a little tidbit. The gold thing she did, that was one of my characters. She stole it.
Okay.
Copyright.
That was a homage. That was a homage to your previous character.
Is it sampling or is it plagiarism?
It was one of my favorite personality quirks from your character that I wanted to pay tribute to.
There you go. So you were there in spirit.
Exactly. I did it for you. I'll go ahead and follow up with a new not that Chris Brown question. And this is a fun one. So who do you guys think would win in a fight between the Arius party and the Farwind party?
Ooh.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, only because of the level difference. But if we weren't doing, I don't know, are we doing level differences?
No, so let's say same level. Let's say even match.
I'm gonna have to go with Arius.
Oh, damn.
I think only because I think Arius has been traveling a little bit longer together, and also they're a little bit better. I don't know.
Better friends.
Better friends, yeah. That is
like they work together better. So I think they'd be more in tune and click.
Yeah, that's what I was really trying to say. I was like, yeah, that's
Seraphina and Rose should be too busy, Rose should be distracted. Seraphina would be too busy throwing shade with Xavier.
Xavier wouldn't be fighting together. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know who these people are.
However,
I know, and that's the thing. Manny would be like, "You want to get a drink or something, dude?" Like,
so Ryan, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I will say, however, isn't there like a number difference?
Yeah, there it is.
Don't we have 5 on Farwind side and 4 on Arius.
We also have Xavier on Farwind, and he's basically useless. So
that's not true.
Well, but the counterpoint to that, and you do bring up an interesting point because it is, but the characters in Arius are generally of more robust classes, and just in terms of their tankability there.
Also, we have really badass weapons
and a ram.
Yeah.
And an awesome staff.
Cassie's been pretty generous with the magical items.
Oh wow, yeah.
Whereas I have not been.
I think you have been generous with items, but we've been too stupid to find them.
Okay, I didn't want to say those words.
I'll say it. I'll go ahead and say it. I think we're hella dumb, and we've probably missed some pretty sweet ass shit.
No, you guys actually do really, really, really well. In fact, you guys usually think of avenues that I really had not considered as major options, especially early on in the campaign. But I will say that sometimes, you guys will walk through the one room that has like something awesome for you in it. Like, nope, there's nothing here.
The cup of Christ is sitting there just like behind this vase, an obvious plain sight, and we're just like, yeah, let's look at this wall.
Guys, there's a brewery in the basement.
Let's get drunk.
Okay, admittedly, there were no magic items in that building.
Oh, thank God. Okay, so then can I ask, have we missed any epic items?
Nothing necessarily epic, but you've definitely missed several magic items.
Damn it.
Dang it.
Can I ask if the tomb where we found the chest of gold, if we would have opened that sarcophagus, would there have been some awesome shit in there?
There would have been some stuff in there. The big thing is that so you guys remember when you fought those animated armor that animated armor, those statues at the very entrance of the dungeon stage. Did they ask for a password?
Yeah.
The password is written on the inside of that sarcophagus.
Fuck! Guys, we're so dumb.
Well, you guys almost had it because Xavier was like, "I'm going to open this up," and everybody's like, "No."
I didn't want to
as per usual, Xavier was right. Y'all fucking wrong.
I literally was over here just like smacking my hand into my forehead when you guys were like, "Don't do that, Xavier. That's the dumbest thing we could do right now."
Right?
I am
all
listening.
Xavier gets.
I am listening to Xavier from now on.
Full disclosure, it was also chopped. But
I totally knew that. But at this point in the game, I think Xavier kind of wishes he died just because he's just like, my God, is this going to be my life? Like,
I still think one of my favorite Xavier lines was when you cried out, "I wish I had better friends."
Oh yeah, that was so good.
That was great.
I will say from a magic item standpoint, that there was a pair of magic items that really, I mean, they weren't super fantastic, but they just made me really laugh. That were hidden out in New Turin, and if you guys had gone over and explored where the cooperage was, the cooper I had written as being deaf and being a huge fan of like comedy. And so there is an ear horn of hearing in there next to a music box that essentially it's a box of endless jokes. So you open it up and it just starts telling jokes in a repeat, and essentially allows you to cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter once per day.
Fuck!
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. So, but you know, I mean, I figured the odds of you guys finding that weren't huge, but I put it in there because it just was going to make me giggle. If you guys had a box you could just open up and make people like fall over with peals of laughter.
We're dumb guys. What the fuck?
No, we did good.
You guys did really well.
Did we?
You guys found a number of I should say you guys are finding at this point in the campaign some of the stuff that's been hidden inside Kaldrum's cage.
Dude, can I just say one more time? Fuck Kaldrum. I hate that dude. He gives me the creeps.
To be honest, that's why I kind of like him, though.
That's what's he's so unsettling, and the way you voice him.
I like dark characters. I don't know why. No pun intended.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Villains are some of my favorites. It's just, man, this guy's a
yeah, him and Carver.
Oh,
Him and
dude,
Carver.
I love Carver's just a smug asshole.
Yeah, Carver, man. He is the kind of villain that I love to hate.
And you hated him so much.
I still hate him so much. Like,
oh, I know.
Like personally, as a human, he gives me a visceral reaction. like not even as Rhodes, like as Rob Kerr. Like I hate Carver Blackwood.
Then I've done my job well.
You have.
If you personally hate him,
he won just enough to, and at just the right moments to be like humiliating.
I love doing that with my villains.
It was good. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
So, sort of on this topic, then, what has been everybody's favorite moment with either your character or another character in either or both campaigns? That question comes to us from our very own Cassie Derby.
Oh my goodness. I cannot choose.
Favorite moment, like, ever in the campaign? Or?
Yeah, favorite moment so far.
Oh.
And it can be, like, from either or both campaigns. So if you have a favorite moment from Farwind, a favorite moment from Arius, with your character or a group of characters so far.
Oh man,
it's hard to choose. Everyone's contemplating.
Yeah, it's really hard to choose. There's been so many.
Well, let's start with your favorite Farwind moment that we've recorded up the first 10 episodes.
I really like the Kaldrum stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like getting up to that point, that whole like getting up to that and then finally meeting him and then like doing that little combo and trying to like see what's around. That's all like that was cool to explore.
Awesome. Well, that makes me happy to hear. Thank you.
Right. What about you, Ryan?
Oh man. There's a few. The stuff in the church was so funny to me. I don't know why.
Oh yes.
So
Like
good.
when I set off the stink trap, and I was just smelling for so long.
I love when he asked
what a rape whistle is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
I just want you to know, Ryan, me, Cassie the player, just wanted to reach out and give your character a hug, but Serafina was just like, none of that. Sucks to be that guy.
So it's either the church or the quest to find the what was it? The amulet?
Oh yeah.
The amulet near like that giant statue where we got like ambushed.
Oh my god, I thought we were gonna
Yeah.
TPK.
Yeah.
Shit.
That was so funny to me just because of like the situation that I was in. Like I was like dead center and Rob was like roll initiatives and I'm like, oh, okay.
And that was the night we left Roche behind back at the temple with back in the mausoleum with Torga. So we were down a person.
Yeah.
And Nurse Xavier was like on his A game playing Florence Nightingale to us.
Rubbing the throat. That was a good one.
That was my favorite part.
Dude, that was so funny, man.
Or
That
when
was my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me. That was so
Because he almost died and Xavier won, so that's my favorite part.
and when
Ridiculous.
Xavier's like, can I cry as a free action? And Rob was just
yeah.
like, yeah, it's a free action. Go for it.
Oh man.
Oh, that was great.
So my favorite Farwind moment is from I think the episode right before that where you guys had just first entered the graveyard and you guys found that shed and heard like the scritching from inside and you guys got super serious and stealthy about it.
Oh yes.
And then
Shadow was like unnecessarily tumbling.
He's like leaping from grave to grave and he kicks in the door and it's just a
Naturally.
rat like just sitting there gnawing on shit.
Oh god.
Oh,
you know
man.
what? I have to tell you, the movie scene that played in my head, Kyle, while you were describing yourself like doing those acrobatics was Tim Allen from Galaxy Quest.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's what I was picturing. Just like does the tumbling help? Yeah, it helps. That's what I was seeing in my head, and it was just hilarious.
Oh, that makes it
And
so
also
funny.
the hand tree that Adam was freaked out about.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh, they're birds? Oh, screw that. And they're like, no, it's hands. And he's like, oh, no, screw that.
Oh god, Adam, what's your favorite Farwind part so far?
Like I said, one of them was when everyone started dropping like flies. And I was just like, yes.
This is my moment.
That's right. This is. Oh man,
I did love when you guys were all trying to question Torga while she was bleeding to death. And Xavier was like, what are you all doing? She's gonna die.
guys, we're dicks.
I think it just has to be anytime Xavier. It's not just.
Say that again, Adam.
What I mean is like anything that Xavier said, not because he's my character, but just because I think he's the exact opposite of what a lot of D&D campaigns expect of a character.
Yeah.
Because when you think of
yeah.
D&D, you think of like, oh, they're going to be heroes and all that stuff. And Xavier's not that. Xavier's very much just like real talk.
Yeah.
So I think I just like anything he's just like especially when it turns out to be like the right thing or the most logical, like you really should have listened to him. And I just like
nopes the fuck out.
like and he imagines like I always imagine Xavier sometimes as the person from like real life who got transported to like D&D land, and he's just like, no, and everyone's like, the optimistic, like twinkly-eyed knight hero, like, let's go defeat the dragon. He's like, no, are you what? No.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Also, the other favorite part had to be when Xavier and Dark were having to talk about Midnight name, and then he's like, "Oh, our sister."
My gosh! Yes.
That was my favorite.
That's
That
right.
was great.
That was so funny. That
Oh
was
my
good.
goodness, that was some good shit. Definitely.
I might have to introduce Midnight as an NPC later.
Just for the fuck of it. Nice.
Are you my relative? Long lost cousin, sister?
You guys had another family member this whole time.
Whoops.
And she's operating with Kildrum. Oh my god.
Oh no!
Don't give
Fuck
me
that
ideas.
guy.
Don't give me ideas.
Don't give him
Or-
ideas.
Or she was raised by the slavers, and now she's like a bounty hunter, like for the slavers, hunting down her people, because
Stop
they
giving him
brainwashed her.
ideas.
Ooh.
What the hell, dude?
I love you guys.
So like now, yeah.
That's
So now
crazy.
she hunts down like people because she was brainwashed. Because now they are just like, oh, we're your family, and she's like, yes, you
Write this
saved me.
down. Write this down. This is gold.
Rob just has a pen and paper and pen.
God damn it!
So,
Shit.
so then, guys, what's been your favorite event or part of the Aries campaign?
Oh man, again, so many. Jeez. I like how just they are just all so friendly. It is like just the opposite of Farwind Party.
They really are. They really are. I have to say that my favorite part was the fact that we got into a bar fight and killed somebody our very first night
Yes.
in Fitzpark, and
didn't get thrown out.
the response was, "No, it's cool. No big deal." It's just like, wait, we just murdered somebody in your bar and you don't know us.
I like how
happens every day.
Fiora. Yeah, Fiora was more concerned about that than Blitz was, and Blitz owned the bar. Oh God, that was a great first night. Anybody else have a favorite part?
I do have to say, just real quick, as the audience may not know that I don't think either any of us actually, when we separated the party, that those of us who weren't in a particular scene didn't know about what was going on in the other the other episode throughout. So for me, it was really cool to finally find out what you guys had been doing while I had been stuck in that damn cage.
That was, I will say, I agree with you on that. It was cool because we knew Rob, were going to be traveling. So as a DM, I'm used to putting players on autopilot when need be if somebody can't be there. But I thought this would have made for a really cool way of having your character not be with the group while everyone goes and fucks around, instead of just saying, oh, Rhodes is just going along with whatever plan you guys want. And it worked really well with your character's personality too. So that was a lot of fun to kind of like write into the story.
Yeah, that was a really cool idea, and I hadn't expected to do that, but I really, really liked it when you suggested it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what about everybody else? What are
Yeah, I really like that too, actually. Like that dynamic, like not knowing what you did either. Because we didn't know.
I was gonna say, I didn't tell Adam anything, because I think the nights you and I recorded, Adam would be at work, so he couldn't listen in on anything. So that was also a plus.
Yeah, I just remember like listening to your part and being like, this is awesome. Like, so. But yeah, the Battle Ram Woods was awesome. Getting Ramathorn.
Oh God, I was not expecting that
clutch
shit
nat
the way
20.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Adam, that nat 20, that nat 20 animal handling. Oh, man.
Yeah, and I know that doesn't necessarily make for critical success, but the DC I had, not that it was going to be an impossible DC to hit, but I wanted it to be a challenge because you guys were going up against like a creature that wasn't intended to be tamed by y'all. It was supposed to be an encounter where someone's chest was going to get crushed in. Like, I warned
Probably
you guys I warned you guys as an NPC going in there with just the three of you unprepared was dangerous.
You heard it here first, folks. This is Cassie Derby admitting that she was trying to murder us. So.
I'm always trying to murder people. That's why they call me the Lady Crit.
I think that's my title now.
Oh, shut up.
Didn't I get the crit?
Lord Crit.
You did.
Lord and Lady
Or do you want... I was going to say, do you want the Lady Crit title or do you want to go with Lord Crit?
Shit, I'll take it. I'll take all the royalties.
So, Adam, what was your favorite area to episode 10?
Up to episode what?
Episode 10, the finale.
The finale.
Of Act 1.
Okay. So that'd probably just be the Battle of Ram Woods and then the roads. Roads.
Oh, God.
I love that you kept that up, too. That's great.
He did. Every night we recorded, he always made sure to throw that fucking in.
Also, anytime we like talk about money and Manny has like a freak out, that's the best.
That's probably my favorite.
Yes.
I never realized he was such a penny pincher. Like, oh my God. I always imagine him just pulling out like one of those accountant visors at the end of the day and like going over the finances and the books.
I'm not that bad.
Are you sure?
He's just sitting on his computer like somebody's been spending gold. Togoro?
Especially when Lucaros goes around
It's
and
more
drops, like, bags of money.
Lucaros.
Yeah, Lucaros goes and drops bags of money at all the NPC tables.
Because he's a good person.
I have to say, I think one of my other favorite moments in Arius, let me update that. My two favorite Arius moments. When Togoro tries Mind Dust and how that played out through the rest of the episodes. That was great. and then probably one of my favorite, oh, damn it. Okay, I'm going to have to update this again. My favorite two character moments, the Rhodes and Naomi scene on the ship, and then the Togoro and Blitz scene in the workshop in the finale episode. Those were just like perfect little windows into your guys' characters, and I absolutely love those.
That was cool being able to sort of have those on-screen private moments there, because that's not a side of Road that I get to show off very often. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we don't see that side enough.
Aww.
I'm hoping to bring it back in.
I hope
you're here. So,
how was the Blitz and Togoro moment for you, Adam? I'm just curious.
I mean, this was normal. I was just playing my character, and I feel like that's how that progressed. Like all this talk about Manny's mom made him think about his stuff. So,
well, the only reason why I ask is because I think out of the four of you, the most littlest known about backgrounds from previously were you and Lucaros, and I know we still really haven't touched in on Lucaros' backstory. So
I don't even know his backstory.
Well, none of you know his backstory, really.
It's been a secret. It's been lovely.
It has been. It has. But
Yeah,
I
have no idea.
Again, another cool DM moment for me was when you as your character was just like, I want to talk to Blitz. Like, I didn't know what was coming or what to expect. I thought it was just going to be like, I don't know, just a classic Toguro moment we've seen. And then like, I think you kind of even hear it in my voice a little bit where I'm like, oh, like part of that was actually me. It's just like, oh, that's, oh. But that was a really good like little peek into the window of Togoro's backstory that, you know, no one really saw up until then. We all know he's like the team player and lovable guy, but seeing that vulnerability was really cool.
Well, the thing with Toguro is he's basically a child. Like, I mean, you think about it, he was raised by direwolves and whatnot, so he's basically just the mind of a child. Like his capability of dealing with, you know, stuff and, you know, expressing himself, it's very much childlike. He never really was taught how to express himself or how to handle things. So when he does something, it's very reminiscent of a child.
That's cool.
Yeah, well, you managed to make that endearing when you play Toguro.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, have we touched on everybody? I think we've touched on everybody's.
I think so.
So in that case, as long as we're sort of on the topic of Arius, I wanted to bring up a question that we got in the episode breakdown channel, where someone asks, how was it running a game with just one player?
Oh, yes.
We talk about some of the solo stuff that we've done. So how was DMing for just a single player, Cassie?
I've actually, in a few times in like my old campaign that I ran for years and years, there were a few opportunities where I did actually do that, just kind of a warm up before the big game night. Is I would take one player aside and be like, hey, let's do like a little mini session with just you and me, just to kind of like set up for the next game night. So I've done it before, and I was really excited to do it again on the in the show, in the podcast. And I really liked doing it with Rhodes's character. Like it was a lot of fun because I didn't know what direction you were going to go. And then I was going to have to try to work it in with the rest of the party and how your decisions would affect the rest of the group back at the tavern and all that. So I really enjoyed it. What did you think?
I had a really good time. That was my first time ever being part of a solo game in there. And it was very different. I have to say that the initial sort of thing that I had to overcome in there was not having the ability to just sort of sit back at some point and see what everybody else wants to do or what everybody else's thoughts are on a situation, but having to really dig into it and solve it myself. That was a lot of fun. It took a minute, especially like I think with the initial scene where we're sort of waking up in the morning and it's me sitting with Blitz, sort of figuring out what the hell I'm going to do. But it was also kind of cool to be able to address how Rhodes is away from his friends. You know, in terms of he's in many ways a very compartmentalized sort of person, and that in certain situations he takes on a very specific demeanor, and he's one way with his friends, and tends to be, I think, he's definitely assertive, but he tends to be more willing to hear the needs of the group and sort of compromise. So it was fun being able to play him around people that he, wasn't really interested in what they want. He was more interested in what he wanted, and getting to be a little more selfish and a little more demanding. I sort of, when I was playing that, I kept imagining him as like sort of a combo of Doctor Who and Deadpool.
Oh, nice,
Sort of
nice.
That, I'm the star of the show. And they're like, no, this is real life. Doesn't matter. I'm still the star.
Throw me into the bottom of the ocean. I don't care if you're on drugs. Just take me down there.
I did like the mind dust element. When you rolled that out, I was like, holy shit, she just introduced fantasy cocaine. What?
I have to admit, that is a little nod to my players from my old campaign. That was something that was always like joked about in the old campaign that I used to run years ago, that they always were just like, so is it legal to do mind dust here? Whatnot. So I had to just throw that fun little nod, and plus it made for a fun personality quirk for Git.
Yeah, that really made Git's character. I thought you did a really good job with that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'll pull another one from the breakdown channel.
Okay.
This was one I really was looking forward to. I wonder what would happen if the two parties were in each other's situation. Who from Farwind would have found themselves in Rhodes' current predicament? Who would the Arius guys be kinder to the villagers in need? I think that's a really creative question that we got.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you guys think?
I think Arius would have killed it over in Farwind.
Probably.
How would the Farwind guys have handled themselves in Fitzpark, though?
I think everything would be on fire, to be honest.
Jeez, yeah, probably, actually.
They would have killed the whole party during the bar fight as opposed to just one guy.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't think they would have made friends with Blitz that well.
No.
Like, you know, the opening, I think is it the opening of Conan Barbarian, like, but where they start like going up and like, you know, there's this guy on a throne and there's skulls everywhere and like women around him. That's how Xavier would have ended up in, you know, like the first 20 minutes.
Xavier would have been
That's beautiful.
I mean, James Earl Jones was a boss on that. So
He was.
Spoilers, he turned into a snake.
He was, yeah. The original Yon T.
Oh, God.
I think if Arius was in Farwind's situation, I think we'd be all right in there.
I would love to
Take
see
him out.
the interaction. I would love to see the interactions between Kildrum and the party of Arius.
Oh my God.
That would be amazing.
I think, you know what? I think the Farwind party probably would have sided and made friends with Carver. They would have been like, yeah, we'll join your crew. Maybe the Dark Brothers wouldn't have gone with the plan, but I could see like Xavier, Serafina, and Roche being like, yeah, seems legit.
I would actually kind of be curious to see how the Dark Brothers would react to Carver.
That's true, yeah.
Specifically Carver.
Carver's such a fuck.
Yeah, Shadow would just kill him.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think that the Arius team would have definitely been kinder to the villagers. Like, a lot kinder. Like, I mean, even just down to imagining, and Rich will have to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but imagining how Roche interacted with the villagers in the temple, to how Lucaros would have interacted with the villagers in the temple.
Oh my God, he would have been giving him money.
Yeah, it would have been night and day. It would have been, he would have been like, how can we help? What can we do? Yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to battle you out of this village and get you back. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. Whereas Roche was just more of like, this is really inconvenient.
Right?
Now, what me and Kyle have talked about, or what I talked about with Kyle, is it would be really interesting just to see how the groups, like the Farwind group and the Arius group, would communicate to each other.
Oh, like the two parties
Rhodes
met
and the
each
two
other?
Dark Brothers, Tagoro and Xavier, Serafina, and
Any of the
Naomi,
NPCs?
maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that I really, in the future, want to do, even if it's just like a dream sequence that has no bearing on the rest of the storyline, do a crossover episode.
Hey, I got an idea actually for that.
Okay.
Dark is filling with detecting portals and stuff. There you go.
Oh, There we go.
There
We got it.
There we go.
Nice. I feel like Seraphina would probably eat Naomi alive, just like be completely mean, just crush her little innocent, naive spirit.
Oh yeah.
I think Xavier would kill Tagoro.
I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
I think he'd actually just master blaster it, just kind of like lobotomize him and then ride his back, just like, master blaster style.
Because Tagoro is so nice that Xavier's Xavier.
I mean, he would just manipulate Xavier or Tagoro to the point of getting his way. So, like, that's why I imagine he's just like, all right, well, we're just going to do this thing to make you feel better. And he's just getting an ice pick lobotomy. He's like, all right, just hold still, buddy.
Or even Manny and Xavier would be a good combo.
Yeah, so
oh my
we need to
gosh.
address that question right now then. Who is
Who's the better bard?
Manny or Xavier?
Now, are we talking just straight bard or character that play bard? Because you have Manny, who's multi class as a bard sorcerer, so automatically he's a win right there. But if you just look at bards, then I think that should be it. Because
what? I think we expand the question. Just like, how would those two interact with each other? Like, how would that even go down?
That'd be kind of. Should we role play it right now?
Yeah, let's see.
Do it.
So you two, you meet in a bar and go.
What?
That sounds about right.
what do you think? You're a bard or something? All fancy over there?
Oh, you're already picking up fighting? Let me say, hey, what's up? How'd you get here? Just right away fighting.
It's not a fight. It's just a question.
You want a drink? I don't know.
I always want a drink. Yes. What's your deal, bud? What's going on?
Probably that's about it. We just have a drink, talk about life.
Manny would be super awkward.
They just became best friends.
You're like,
holy shit.
Nobody saw that coming.
I got the staff.
God
Got the
damn it.
staff from this dumb bitch. Yeah, you can take a look at it, but you can't keep it.
And I run that bitch.
Old person.
I cast detect magic. My eyes burn, and I run.
Scorching ray, quick action, all that.
Yeah,
But Xavier has one thing. Xavier has one thing Manny doesn't.
Conscience.
Long legs.
Oh,
That is true. That is true.
I like that. I like the idea of the two of them just becoming pals.
but
Yeah, Shadow and Manny would be best friends too.
Rhodes would be jealous. Why do you need another tabaxi? You already got a tabaxi right here. I don't know why.
Rhodes and Dark would just be in a corner, just like socially awkward, like I'm in this group.
Yeah. Yeah. Both sitting there awkwardly.
Just
I like
quiet.
that. They both just turned. You want to go outside and I don't know, hunt some game or something? Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Would you like to get away from the crowd and not talk? Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Now there's
Somebody
the best friend
gets it.
story.
Somebody gets it.
So in this, not to be that guy, but which one's Beauty and which one's the Beast? Because
Wait, what?
Rhodes is the beast.
What? Oh,
Yes. Dark is the beauty.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh my god. All right.
They're like
Jesus.
walking into the forest and just
And
sunsets.
And fan art.
Yes.
All right. So I think it's time for a new question then. So
Yes.
Cass, do you have one here for us? Do you want to jump?
Let's see. I'm going to jump to another Dismal Ninja question.
Yes.
Let's
So
see.
many.
I know Dismal Ninja crushed it with the
It's
questions.
incredibly thoughtful. They're really good questions too.
It has been touched on before, but what media inspires you guys? What have you drawn on heavily from when recording these last few episodes? Books, movies, TV, audio dramas, etc.
Ooh, that's a really good question. What about you guys? What have you drawn on?
I don't know.
Like Xavier was basically made after I watched the Queer Eye show on Netflix. So,
I thought it was Mean Girls.
well, it was a mixture of that. It was kind of like the what if the Queer Eyes weren't like that nice and wonderful and the most perfect people in the world, and they were more like the the plastics.
Yeah, okay.
They could never be like the plastics. They're too precious.
I know, but this is like an alternate, like this is a horrible, horrible reality where they're not the nice people and wonderful people they are.
Nice.
I like it.
Kyle, Ryan?
Me personally, I just go whatever mood I'm in, realistically. I don't really go off of that much.
Okay.
Some things might be inspired from like other like channels, maybe like I don't know, Critical Role or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a little theory about Manny though. I don't know if this was intentional though, but every time I listen to him on Arias, he always reminds me of Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
From the effing tattoo on his body to like his stature and his blonde hair.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't even think of that, and that's one of the animes Adam's like watched off and on. Nice.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to him, I'm like, oh, it's Meliodas.
Nice.
I'm glad somebody else got that. Yes, I like that. So was that intentional, Kyle?
Oh, no. I honestly didn't even think of that, really. I don't know what inspired me for Manny, honestly. It was kind of a thought I had, and I don't know, I just thought, like, the blonde hair, green eyes was, like, a nice little touch.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But no, I didn't really have that in mind, but yeah, he does kind of look like him a little bit, for sure.
So what did inspire your characters?
Oh, shadowing any?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of based on my own personalities, and I really wanted to play a bard, and then later down the road, I was like, yeah, I really want to multi-class because I really haven't done that, and I want to try something new. So multi-class into Shadow Sorcerer, and that's been a lot of fun. So I'm having super fun with Manny. And then Shadow, I've always liked monk classes, and I thought Tabaxi Monk, that'd be a super build almost. Like I could see that in a fantasy world. So I just made that and gave him kind of a darker personality.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Manny's more of like a bubbly personality, kind of more outgoing, more out to do things, where Shadow's like focused on training and wanted to be stronger and just like
so many push-ups.
So many push-ups.
All the push-ups.
Yeah. Parkour.
How about you, Rob? What about Rhodes? Was he inspired by any media stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, the Rhodes character originally was actually inspired by a friend of mine's cat, like legitimately, like right down to the color, where he's just such a lovable asshole. But as the character sort of developed, I did want to work in elements of Doctor Who and Deadpool, a little bit of Han and Chewie dynamic with Manny, and yes, I recognize that Rhodes is Chewie in that relationship, and just with his background, just sort of pulling that that sense of we're gonna go out and have an adventure, damn the consequences. He's a monster slayer as his subclass there, and so having a little bit of that, my whole purpose in life is to go destroy the big baddie, with flair, and then some of that's just that inability to back down, some of that that need to have the last word, That comes a lot from the Doctor Who Deadpool combo there.
Nice.
From the Farwind, for the creation of Farwind, though, that drew a lot in from American history. It's set in the Forgotten Realms sort of universe, and I'm sure many of our listeners will know that there's been discussions about that essentially Faerun is in some ways based off of European culture and a lot of facets there, at least in its earliest foundations. And then with the release of Chult, reading through that, especially when it entered Tomb of Annihilation, really struck me as very Africa, South America, Dark Continent, jungle exploration sort of stuff. And so that kind of got me thinking about, well, what about the early days of colonizing North America, and some of the things that went on with that. I've always been a big history buff, and so right down to that sparked a lot of stuff. Right down to the landing of Windrunner Landing, based a little bit off of the whole Mayflower, Plymouth Landing sort of history there. The sort of Manifest Destiny Western expansion that's going on in there, trying to live and work with the indigenous tribes in this colonization, and that led to bringing in the Barvex of the campaign and that sort of thing. And you guys are going to see a little more as you expand out some of the clash between the would-be settlers and the people who were inhabiting this area before, and so that's where a lot of that came from.
Cool.
Yeah. So what about you, Cassie?
Well, Seraphina. Oh man, see, Seraphina. I love playing casters and RPGs and MMOs that I like to play. So I wanted to create a spellcaster, and I wanted to go with Warlock. And I think at the time I was working on Seraphina, I think I was going through my World of Warcraft phase again, where I had to jump on and play. So I'm a huge Sylvanas fan. I like that kind of like angsty, dark lady persona. So I think at the time when I was working on Seraphina, I kind of wanted to take some of those elements, because she's just like, dude, Sylvanas is the best, man. I love her. I know she's been getting some shade with the latest expansion, but I still like her. So I think when I was developing Seraphina, I was just like, cool, let me see if I can work some of this in. When it came to developing Arius, I am like you, Rob. I'm a huge history buff. I have a whole row of books on my bookshelf that's just some of my favorite history topics. So when I developed Arius, I wanted to create a completely 100% original world setting. In my previous campaigns, I did do a homebrew world, but it was based off of a book series that I was a huge fan of. And Arius was my attempt at a completely original story and world. It wasn't based off a book series or anything, or some alternative world or whatnot. I wanted it to have its own history, lore, creation, pantheon, and whatnot. So a lot of the different kingdoms and races in the world of Arius, and I know we've only seen a small portion of it right now with the current stuff, but it's a lot of the kingdoms that you'll come across are based off of some of my favorite historical topics and myths and lore and everything. I love Victorian era, and I do like the steampunk stuff. So dropping you guys in Fitz Park, I had to do. I absolutely love that type of alternate history setting. Yeah, I'm a huge Tolkien fan, George R. R. Martin, and I love like the straight up high fantasy stuff. And I like to incorporate other sometimes alternate elements to that, you know, so there is a little bit of technology in my campaign. So yeah,
makes for a good foil between the two there. Very cool. So in terms of you know, sort of jumping back here and taking a sort of a large view of Farwind and Arius, in terms of character development, Dismal Ninja asks, I know that the Arius group has some off-mic time prior to the start of the show, but Farwind, as far as I understand it, has spent all of their time in character while on mic. So, players, now that you've had some time to work on these characters, are your characters who you thought they would be when you first planned them out? So, so guys, what do you think? And I would even expand that to how has it been different building a character completely recorded as opposed to getting some off mic time when we first started the Arius campaign?
Yeah, with Shadow, it's kind of like a learn as you go. Like whatever he's experiencing as he's kind of traveling is how he's going to react. And he's still so new to adventuring and like personalities. He doesn't really know how to act himself. So he's just like, and that's why he works out, you know?
So has that made it easier for you to sort of experiment with him on mic because he is still experimenting with himself?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Manny, I would say he's definitely changed from the beginning. He's getting a little bit more confident. And I think that's helped on and off mic because just like the things that he went through with the White Tower and now leading up to this stuff. So
yeah, I will say you guys have the Arius crew has even changed from the first episode to now in compared to when we did the prequel. Like even then there's been a huge change in the personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. So Adam, what about you? How is sort of feeling Xavier out on the air been for you as an experience?
It's been a process. I was hoping he would have been a little more fabulous and not as bitchy, but circumstances made him bitchy. Like he was just originally going to be like a snarky type dude and just some shade, but now he's just turned into a full-blown bitch and it's been different.
Okay.
Like I feel like he's negative more because, you know, he's the voice of reason, but I feel like I wasn't intending him to be that way. So I mean, nothing bad or anything. That's not bad or anything. It's just it's different than how I intended him to be. You know how you kind of like have an envision for a character, and then it's like, it's not how I expected him to become.
Yeah, so he was a little bit of a curveball for you.
Yeah, he was.
Do you think you've had a better handle on Togoro since you had some off mic time to really feel him out?
I don't know if I've had a better hand. I think just with party dynamic wise, being bitchy compared to being like that fun little guy, he's worked out a lot better because I mean, I'll be honest, he doesn't love Togoro. Like, you know, he's the best.
We all love Togoro. So that's okay.
I think Seraphina, like I said, I had like a dark backstory for her, and I'm kind of like Adam. Like I think I had played a little bit different than she is now. I think the circumstances that she's been through since coming to New Turin, I think have kind of started to, I don't know, change some of her outlooks on things.
How so?
I think for me and for Seraphina, I think a lot of it came think that was the first time she really sensed, oh shit, like I can't just keep being confident and acting like we got this and keep being shady. I think Caldrum really kind of like was more of a reality check than everything else that has gone on here in this village. So I think that kind of like shook her foundation a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting her decisions here within the area we're in with Caldrum.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I think that in episode 11, which will be airing a couple days after this airs, I think we're going to see some of that firsthand there. So
yeah, definitely.
Terrific. So Ryan, being as relatively new to D&D, how has it been for you feeling out a character live and on air?
Oh, it's been a blast. Like, I consider Dark, like, out of all the characters I've had, Dark would probably be the closest to me. Like, I would imagine me being like him in this situation.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. To be able to play somebody who reflects yourself so well.
And it's like, the first few episodes, like, Kyle's favorite thing to yell at me, well, not yell at me, but to talk to me about when we're in like a fighting situation, is just move. Because literally I just stick myself there and just take it. Kind of like what happened at the statue.
Yeah.
But as I'm learning this, I'm like, oh, I can do things more strategically. So I'm kind of learning as I go.
That's terrific.
But
nice.
And I think as far as Izzy as what I want him to be, yeah, I think Dark is pretty close to what I've been going for so far.
Okay,
cool.
Well, that's terrific. It's been really cool to watch Dark grow and to watch you grow as a player too. Moving forward here. Excellent.
I'll go ahead and ask the next one if we're good. So this is another one from the episode breakdown channel. It looks like, yeah. So is it correct to assume that the dramatic vignettes are supposed to be concurrent with the party's actions? I've suspected this for a while now, but with what we have seen in the past few episodes, makes me suspect that even more. And this is in regards to the Farwind stuff.
Yes. So to answer that, yes, they are loosely concurrent. The idea behind the vignettes was one as an opportunity to sort of do some foreshadowing for the audience. Many of you may know that we record these pretty far in advance, and so it doesn't usually reveal much that the party, the players don't know yet. Usually they've discovered anything that's come out in those vignettes, but also I really wanted to remind both players and the audience that Farwind is a big place, and our adventurers are really just a small part of what's happening in the grand scheme of things, that other people are out making actions of their own, not just sitting around waiting to be saved. And plus it's been fun to be able to sort of put a spotlight on the places in New Turin that the party didn't choose to go check out. For example, nobody went to Feldenstar Traders. They talked about it, they never went, and nothing wrong with that. But the vignette allowed me to highlight Alice and Cicely hold up in there, whereas we wouldn't have gotten to see that element.
Yeah, that vignette really caught me off guard, because I'm like, oh shit. Where were they?
I really like listening to them, because you're like, oh, what's going on here? or what's going on somewhere else.
I think the one vignette that I heard, I think it was the one where we meet in the vignette, the audience meets Ula for the first time as she's tending to her father.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, okay, so we had already recorded the episode where we all as a party met her. And then I was super shitty and shady to her about the undergarments. Then that vignette came out, and after I heard it, I'm like, wow, I was such a dick. And you told me, you're like, yeah, but Serafina didn't know that. I'm like, I know, but I feel like a dick now. And that was really cool. That was really cool, like seeing, wow, okay, so when we show up, I totally shit all over her concern and whatnot. No wonder she didn't like me. She's been worried about her dad this whole time, and I'm just an asshole.
Admittedly, that has been something that I've been able to do with these, because I write the vignettes, well after we've played past there, so I don't have them written in advance and just waiting. And so so I mean, I have all that sort of stuff skeletoned and draft out in my notes, but so it has been kind of cool to be able to do that with the audience, to sort of peel back some of the curtain there to see what's been going on with these NPCs, especially ones who keep cropping up. And when you guys aren't interacting with them, so the audience gets a picture of where they're coming from when they're interacting with the party.
Nice.
Yeah. So to that end, as long as we've sort of talked about a little bit of what I've been doing with the vignettes, in terms of the process of building and some of the extra stuff that gets added into the pot that it doesn't necessarily appear while we're actively playing, I do want to ask Cassie. We have another question from Dismal Ninja, where he says, "What is the soundtracking process for the show? I know you make the tracks for the show. What is the creative process behind that?"
So this is interesting because I was just showing a song to Adam earlier today, and he kind of asked me the same question. Again, like in my past experience as a DM, I always love having background music because I think it helps set the tone for whatever's going on. So some of these songs I had already started working on way back when we were doing like Tomb of Annihilation and the White Tower stuff. And then along the way, as we started working on the main campaigns of the show, I went back and started reworking some of those original songs and then creating new. A lot of what I do is just depending on, actually, a lot of the songs I work on right after a recording session typically, or when I'm in the middle of editing an episode. It kind of helps, like, all right, for this scene, I want it to sound like this. I want that. I will say, for the Naomi and Rose scene, I knew I wanted something that, I know this is going to sound super cheesy, but romantically tragic, if that makes sense. Because that was such a vulnerable scene. And so when I was mixing the music and creating that, I really wanted to like have a sad violin sound and then like this piano constantly going, because I wanted to capture kind of like that vulnerable optimism that Rhodes had, and then just like the shy opening up of Naomi's character. So I want the music to also tell a story along with what is being said by the players and NPCs. That's kind of the process in the back of my head. The Tagoro and Blitz scene, again, that was another vulnerable moment that just kind of came out of the blue. So when that song starts up, again, like, it's a song you're not expecting because it's a moment you're not expecting. And again, like, that was a really tragic, sad, not sad in a negative sense, but sad like, oh, this guy.
Right. Well, you do a very good job of really helping to tell that story through music in the background. That is something that you do very well.
Well, thank you. I can't read a lick of music, but I do like to kind of like have a picture in my head how it all sounds together. So yeah, thank you. Let's see. I'll go ahead and pull up one. This is one submitted by our very own Rob. So, who has been everyone's favorite NPC so far? And what is it about that NPC that made them special for you? Do your personal feelings about the NPC influence how your character interacts with them? It's a super cool question.
Why, thank you.
Well, I feel in Arias, I personally like Fiora. She's badass. She's badass. She can throw down. And in Farwind, I like Barvik. He's awesome. The drunken druid.
I do like Barvik.
Goblin.
I like
Perfect.
Torga. I like Torga. She's feisty.
They were both a lot of fun to write. Torga and Barvik. I have to say that Carver is probably my favorite NPC because I hate him. I hate him so much.
You want to kill the most you love? What?
I mean, he just from a creation standpoint, I have such an emotional response to Carver in a way that I don't like. I enjoy the other NPCs thoroughly, and Naomi's fun and Blitz is cool and Kat. I wish Rode had spent more time interacting with her, but but Carver just anytime he even gets brought up, like personally, like I ratched up just a little bit and I'm like, I've got to kill that guy. So he is just such a well-crafted NPC from Rhodes' perspective, from my perspective.
Well, thank you.
So
I think I developed his personality first, and then I went through D&D Beyond to find a class that I thought matched his personality. So, and then I built his character sheet, because I do actually build character sheets for my NPCs. So his was particularly fun to craft.
He's a good chap. He's a good chap. Ryan?
Ryan, yeah.
What about you?
For Arias, probably Fiora. I'm probably copying my brother there. Fiora is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And just because she can throw down with the best of them, and she has kind of like that Seraphina type of attitude.
Oh, yeah. I actually, I didn't even think of that. I was just I know when I developed Fiora, I'm like, okay, I want someone like socially awkward and uncomfortable, but she works in a bar.
Yeah. And it has to be Kildrum in Farwind because, one, I really like villains, and two, I just like the idea of having like this articulate, almost like playing with like a spoiled kid playing with his food at the table, like
yes, villain. That's what it is.
and it's like, oh, he's already has this planned out, and he's going to torture each and every one of us and see how we can go through it. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to like future episodes with him for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but episode 11, I had the most fun with Kildrum ever. And so,
oh my God, I think I was the most stressed out during that session.
That was so much fun for me.
Adam, who's been your favorite NPC so far?
I really can't say because they haven't been introduced yet. And actually, both campaigns. The one
really?
The one in my the Ares campaign actually, he actually gets introduced. I think this episode.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's good.
And
I had to think
the
for a
Farwind campaign, we actually just met him last game session, and I cannot. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So
oh my God.
I can't say who that is. I love him. He is the best.
Oh my God.
I want him somehow to join our cast.
Audience, you just wait.
I'll see if I can find a way to get him to keep him in the story.
Oh my God, no. I forgot about that dude.
All right. We don't want to
beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. That's all I want to say. Like they haven't been introduced yet. For like I said,
Not
the
even
Arius. You guys
Ramathorn?
can check out the episode to figure out who that is.
Yeah, word. It's a good one. I thought you were going to say Ramathorn.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't go with Ramathorn.
Ramathorn, Blitz, and like, you know, and Theoria, they're like obviously givens, but like I'm that person who likes to find out like one random person. Like the next person in Arius, I'd probably have to say it'd have to be that the Tinkerer who was that Tagore kept saying was a witch. Like I just like random. I like random characters.
Yeah.
Sometimes the random characters are the best though, because like as a DM, you feel like you can be the most absurd with them because you're like they're never going to come back, so they can just be ridiculous.
Right.
Well, and that's like as if I was the DM, I'd actually just like run with that and have that guy like develop a complex now, and then like go like become a witch hunter, and then like he's just like burning people at the stake, and now he's like a mad serial killer by night, but by day he's a scientist.
This is why we don't let you DM.
No,
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I
have to get into DM.
I like the what if of what they're doing.
Oh, that's a Pandora's box I really think we should not open, guys. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, man. Just to add another favorite scene when the halfling dies, and then you're like, what if this was her first job and she was trying to get the promotion? Dude, that is.
You guys, I just want you to know that halfling who had you at knife point, it was her first day.
No.
That's all right. She was a bitch anyway.
Oh my god.
That's great.
I love how she used you as full cover too. That was great.
Well, she knew what she did.
You know what you did to that coat.
Oh my god. Rob, who's your favorite NPC so far? Or did you already say?
It's Carver. Yeah, it's Carver.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Definitely Carver. So I do want to jump back to a question here from Dismal Ninja. He asked for everyone as a group, looking back from the beginning of the show to now, how do you think you've improved, and where would you like to keep improving? Kind of a thoughtful question here, guys.
Well, it's so funny because I talked to a lady about Manny. Basically, I wanted to put more thought into like how he casts spells, what they look like, and things like that. And I think like right now I'm really slacking on that, especially in the last episode. So I think I might be getting more into that and really trying to come up with thoughtful spell ideas. And same with Shadow when he's like battling, like I want to try to get that 3D scope and really utilize, air kicks or whatever, and try to be a little bit more specific on that
descriptive
area.
Yeah. I think for me as a DM, not saying and whatnot a lot, since I got called on that. And then over the weekend, I went to Mother and I played the first episode for her from the Arius campaign. And without even saying anything, she made a comment about it too. So thanks, Mom.
I haven't wanted to say anything, but I actually keep a little score pad when we play.
Fuck you.
No. Do you really?
Damn it.
Oh man. And then he takes a shot every time. He's like,
you know
wow,
what it is back in high school and in college, I was in speech team and thespian club, and one of the biggest things. Shut up, bitch! I will kill you, you bitch. So one of the things as an actor and a public speaker you're trained not to do is say and but
Yep.
So I think I've trained myself to replace those with and whatnot. That's my filler instead of saying but
It's definitely a very unique filler.
God damn it.
No, that's awesome. Don't ever stop adding and whatnot.
I'll try. You know what? I'll do an episode where I have an NPC only when he talks or she talks, always says that just to an annoying degree where the players pick up on it. And that's going to be my middle finger to you guys.
I like it. I think that's awesome. I would say that as a DM personally, one of the things that I would really like to improve on is frankly doing a better job of accompanying music to the podcast. There, the background music in Farwind on the episodes that I've been sort of a general sort of wash, and I'm always envious of just how cinematic the soundtrack is in Arius there. So that's something I would definitely like to improve on going forward in the campaign. What I think I've gotten better at is I don't think I'll ever be able to anticipate Adam, but at least being a little more, being able to look at my at my adventures and going, okay, how's Adam going to go off the rails on this one?
I told you have to think that way with him. Even with the current area stuff, like the outlines I have, I always have like a little side note. Okay, what the fuck is Adam going to do as Tagoro? Like, I got to think of what that idiot barbarian will come up with, since apparently for the past 10 episodes, he's been the idea guy of the party. What the fuck?
So I have to say, it's made me a much better writer, and it's actually it's got me to go down a couple kind of cool rabbit holes in the stuff that I've written for you guys in the future here. Some of it you've played, some of you haven't yet, and just looking at my basic outline and going, okay, so if they take an absolute, Adam left turn here, where's that going to take them? And then I'm like, that's going to be so much more interesting. All right, let's write that in so that we can do that.
Thank you, Adam, for making us think on our feet.
Making us better DMs. Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice. What about you guys as players?
I mean, Tagoro has gotten a lot better with things. Like you said, he's kind of like the idea man now.
Yeah, because when he started in White Tower, he was pretty run-of-the-mill barbarian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, he's improved. I'd like to see him improve a lot more, becoming more understanding and maybe not so naive sometimes. But we'll just have to see where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
And Xavier, I will say, I think Xavier has not improved at all, even from the beginning. I think he's actually regressed, just because, like, and it's not like I'm not like complaining about the show or anything. It's not. It's just he very much is like seeing it as like whenever he does something, it's kind of like shot down immediately by like majority of the group. So he's just now kind of like become background noise. So you kind of think about it, he kind of is like, is this in the background? He hardly says anything just because he's just like, yeah, they're gonna die eventually. I just gotta wait for my chance. So like I think is regressed in the fact that he's like a little more murderous. Like not that he's gonna kill anyone, but he's just kind of one of those like he seems like
is he Team Caldrum at the moment? I gotta ask, is Xavier Team Caldrum?
Oh, if he wakes up to your like bodies, like all your throat slits and Caldrum standing there, he's just gonna be like, I totally don't know them. Like, what do you need?
They kidnapped me. I don't know what happened.
These people, let me tell you. You think you have it rough with the undead. Not so much better over here.
Nice.
All right, guys. Do we have time for one more question, or do we want to call it at that? Or actually, I'm sorry, have we talked to Ryan? Have we mentioned Ryan? Have we got?
Oh, yeah, Ryan.
Ryan or Kyle, I don't think got to say. Maybe they did. I don't know.
I think,
I answered.
Yeah, Kyle opened us up. But Ryan, we skipped over you here. So what about you?
In terms of Dark, I think he's progressing at a pretty good pace. Like, I would think that throughout the adventures, he kind of like adapts to like whatever's going on. Mm-hmm. especially it was very, very lucky that my favorite anime was Undead, and then his favorite location was Forest, because I didn't realize like at first like what we were doing. I'm like, okay, we're most likely gonna fight mostly Undead, and I'd probably be better in the Forest. And then it just so happened, hey, that's where you're most likely gonna be.
Yeah, admittedly, I did not. You know, when I wrote all of this, I didn't read your character sheet. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this to him.
Nice.
Awesome, guys. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that's probably all the time we have for questions at this point.
And there's so many, like everyone submitted some really good questions. We'll have to do another one.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So we'll hang on to these questions here, and then when we do our next Q&A episode, in the future here, we'll roll these in as well as some new ones. We'll see what we can find out. So to that end, that brings us to a very special announcement that we've been hinting at for our audience here. But you guys, and by that I mean our audience, has been phenomenal. And your support and your activity in the chat, and just talking about us and getting us out there, and really helping our viewership grow. And so we wanted to do a little thank you for you guys. So to that end, we are going to be running 2 community one-shots. And so for that, we are going to, Cassie and I will each be DMing a game. Cassie's taking place in Arius, mine taking place in Farwind, and we want you guys to be our party members. So
holy crap,
if you guys would like to be in our one-shot fan appreciation episodes, all you got to do is send us a 1 to 2 minute audio clip introducing yourself, and then describing your character idea. Anything from the official content is on the table, so feel free to get creative out there and get a little zany, a little dark, a little fun. And we want to see what you've got. We'll collect all of that, and by the end of, I think, January 31st is our deadline to have all that in. And then we will go through and we'll pick the best ones to assemble 2 different groups from. So if that is exciting to you guys, please send in your submission. We want to get you in on the game.
And you can send those to us at partyadvantagepodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. All right.
And I just want to double check too, Rob. These one shots will also feature members of the cast playing within the party as well, right?
They will. And I think that the plan is for them to drum up their own brand new one-shot characters as well for this, so that we can get some completely new fun content. and essentially we'll record the show and we'll post it as a bonus episode.
So yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Can't wait.
Sounds awesome.
So I'll go ahead and just do a quick wrap up for us. Just kind of like our usual sign off. Thank you so much to our community, both here in our Discord, on our Facebook, and on our Twitter community. Everyone is fantastic. You can come join us on our Discord channel, and you can find that link in this week's episode description. You can also, like I said, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook using @PartyAdvantage. There's also our website, partyadvantagepodcast.com, where we post a lot of our recent episodes. You can find character bios for both the Farwind and Arius cast. I'm trying to think of everything else. We, on Facebook and Twitter, we do fun posts, polls, and questions each day and whatnot. Damn it, I did it. I said it right there. Shit.
Yeah, shot.
I hate you guys, but I love you guys. So yeah, that's kind of our regular stuff. The cast, you guys are awesome to DM with.
Indeed you are. You guys are wonderful.
Thanks, guys. Getting all choked up around here.
Oh God, don't cry. Is there anything else we're forgetting? Is there anything else does anyone have anything?
Yeah, any other announcements, comments, questions, derogatory remarks?
You're all beautiful and I love you.
My girlfriend's working on some artwork.
Oh yes, I can't wait. I know you told me about this and I can't wait. God.
Yeah, my girlfriend's working on a portrait of Manny, and I guess it's when he got stabbed on the boat. So it's
my
like
God,
him rising up as the shadow sorcerer type deals.
Awesome.
That
So we'll
sounds
see how that
badass.
works. As soon as it's done, it's hopefully going to be done. She said before Christmas, so it'd be like a Christmas gift to us.
Yay!
Awesome. That would be great.
Type of deal.
Love fan art. So
Yes, any fan art, anyone, yeah, you can share that with us on Twitter. Again, Twitter, Facebook, and our Discord channel. We have an art channel you can throw stuff up in. So I'm super excited to see what your girlfriend has to show us.
cool. All right, guys. Well, if that wraps up, then I guess we'll say goodnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a great night, guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Sweet dreams.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my.
Well, with that, we'll see you next time on Party Advantage. All right.